To stop this dropout epidemic, yes, it would be incredible to have as much funding for our schools as we do for our military, but don't hold your breath. The good news is that there are a lot of little things we can each do today that will make a big difference in keeping kids in school.
I think we need to, as adults, we need to put this mirror in front of us and say, what are we doing? What are we doing which is impacting these youngsters?
To do so well in school, and then I take a look at their family life, and their parents are very supportive of them, and it seems to have a direct correlation with their study habits.
Children get a lot of their values from parents. They adore the people that look after them. They look at them as role models. They need to have somebody be a good role model. If they see the parents reading, then they're going to read. If they see the parents being polite and being respectful, then they're going to be respectful and polite too. No matter what happens outside the home, they have this basic core that they can fall back on.
My mom would never ever let me drop out of high school. I never had the thought, but if I ever even tried, it would be impossible, because she would take every measure necessary and probably take me to boot camp before I dropped out.
I mean, your kid is your first priority before anything, before work, before anything. Your kid is your first priority. If there's something going on with my kid, I'm gonna ask, what's wrong? What is my kid going through to make him or she feel this way? That's something that all parents should wonder. Why is my kid depressed? Why is my kid angry? Let me sit down and talk to my kid. What kind of help can I give my kid?
I feel that your parents, no matter how old you get, even if you're after you hit teenage years, that your parents should still be on you about going to school. Even though they feel like you should be your own person, they should still be calling up to the school, seeing, okay, is Lonnie in school today? Okay, why is it that he's had 3 unexcused absences this week and no one's called me?
Good morning, dear teacher. Good morning to you.
When I was growing up in England, a teacher had some sort of social status. Here they don't. If you're a high school teacher, oh, you're only a high school teacher. You're not somebody in industry, or you're not a scientist, you're not a this or that.
Something that I've always thought about is, I had a teacher here, my English teacher, and I emailed him saying that I was dropping out of his class, and I never got an email back, and that kind of hurt me a little bit.
In my mind, it's kind of like you get what you pay for. If you're paying somebody low in any other job, you get what you pay for. So how can you expect somebody that's getting low wages to be, the superhero?
It's incredibly important, and I think study after study show how that is incredibly important, that young people have at least one adult in their life. Just one. And if that's a teacher, that's great. And some of the young people I work with go back to those teachers, and some, they've dropped out, they moved on, but they still see that one person as a positive connection.
I think the biggest problem at this school is mostly teacher influences. Because some of the teachers don't have boundary lines, and it conflicts with some students.
What do you mean by boundary lines? Like too much of a friend, or different types of boundary lines?
Different types. It's actually things they shouldn't say in class, and
offends people.
Yeah, just offensive statements, and
like statements that would make a kid feel uncomfortable?
Yes.
Exactly. Like about race, or your sex, or all of the above?
All of the above.
You don't get a positive feeling about yourself. Generally, you become what you've defined yourself as. So if we don't get an opportunity to find positive role models inside yourself within your community, we're breeding loss, and it's really sad.
Just yourself right now.
Yeah. In my family, there's not a big line of graduation, people that graduated, so I'm trying. My sister was actually the first one in our generation to graduate, and I want to be the second.
Good for you. What an accomplishment. I want to be the first. None of my cousins graduated yet.
So I gotta go back to school and get on the right track because I got sisters younger than me that are gonna look at me and be like, well, she didn't go to school, so neither do I guess. Yeah, I don't have to either.
Do you have more kids in your family?
Like 2 younger brothers.
How are they doing in school?
You know, I keep them in school. Like, I'm strict with them because what happened to me, I don't want to happen to them. It's like, I tell them, like, don't fall behind because that's not where you want to be, you know? Because, like, they're not meant for the gangster life.
I done saw everything, been through everything, done tried everything, you know what I mean? From crack to meth to all that stuff, you know what I mean? And it just, in my heart, I knew that wasn't for me. And that's what people gotta realize. You gotta know what's for you. If you wanna be this person that's not gonna do nothing with yourself when you get older, that's what you gonna become.
What if we stop complaining about funding and what's wrong with the school system and instead focus on what each one of us can do as parents, as teachers, as neighbors, as students, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, whatever we can. Maybe that way we'll build a strong future for America, one kid at a time.
It's time to stop just talking about education reform and start actually doing it. It's time to make education America's national mission.